For the first time in a decade, the Kremlin has officially admitted we cannot protect our most important holiday. This isn't just about security measures. It's a capitulation to a reality in which Ukrainian drones rule the skies, and the world is on the brink of an agreement that will either end the war or destroy the planet. Today is May 5th, 2026. This is your briefing on 3 global hotspots: Moscow, the Persian Gulf, and Taiwan. The countdown begins now. Right now, as you listen to this, US Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth is demanding a record $1.5 trillion military budget. Why? To hold together a global structure that is cracking at the seams. In Eastern Europe, Steve Witkoff and Kirill Dmitriev are secretly finalizing the 28-point peace plan, a deal where Ukraine might cede 25% of its territory to return Russia to the G8. 6. At the same time, the UAE has exited OPEC, effectively declaring war on Saudi dominance, while the Iranian economy collapses with inflation over 50%. 10. But the craziest story is unfolding over the Indian Ocean. The president of Taiwan is flying home on the private jet of the King of Eswatini, bypassing a Chinese blockade by flying 25,000 kilometers. 13. These aren't just headlines. This is a report on the systemic failure of the old world. We have entered an era where technical solutions no longer exist. A simple flight permit for a civilian airliner has become a weapon. 16. Oil production quotas have become a declaration of war. 18. Even a holiday parade has been taken hostage by air defense systems. 3. Today, we break down how the world became a grey zone, where old alliances crumble for survival and new borders are drawn in secret chats in Dubai and Geneva. 6. The pain of this moment is the uncertainty. In Ukraine, thousands are waiting for May 9th, not to celebrate, but in terror of the promised massive strike on central Kyiv if the Moscow parade is disrupted. 5. In Iran, families are down to 1 meal a day because factories have stopped due to raw material shortages, and the Strait of Hormuz has turned into a toll booth for tankers. 10. Geopolitics is no longer a game for elites. It's about empty shelves in supermarkets from Tehran to Tel Aviv. 10. We are stuck in a state of neither peace nor war that burns trillions in resources without providing safety in return. But what if I told you that even in this moment of existential threat, the system is rotting from the inside? While soldiers in the trenches wait for news of a ceasefire, the Midas case is exploding in Kyiv. 22. Former Energy Minister Halushchenko was detained while trying to flee, and in businessman Mindich's apartment, tapes reveal mansions being built for Vova and Andriy using laundered millions. 24. This makes the pain worse. People are sacrificing everything, while the inner circle builds palaces on the Marshall Islands. 22. It discredits Kyiv in Trump's eyes and gives Putin the perfect excuse to stall negotiations, calling Ukraine's leadership illegitimate. 5. Let me tell you about the most tracked aircraft in the world. It's a 25-year-old Airbus A340. It used to ferry tourists from Taipei to Europe under the China Airlines flag. 13. In 2016, it was sold to the King of Eswatini for $12 million. It gathered dust in a royal hangar for a decade until April 2026, when China decided to choke Taiwan in the sky. The Seychelles, Mauritius, Madagascar, they all revoked overflight permits for President Lai's plane. 28. Lai was blocked, so he made a move. He boarded that old Royal Airbus, which on paper has nothing to do with Taiwan, and flew a detour through Australia and Indonesia, covering 25,000 kilometers. 13. The whole world on Flight Radar 24 watched as an old machine, maintained by Taiwanese engineers, outsmarted Beijing's diplomatic blockade. 13. This is the symbol of our time. To survive, you must become a ghost. 16. Is there a way out? Hope flickers in those 28 points. 6. Despite Putin's attempt to sabotage talks with a fake drone attack on his Valdai residence, 90% of the deal is agreed upon. 6. For the first time, we aren't just talking about a ceasefire, but systemic integration. $100 billion in frozen assets for Ukraine's reconstruction. Russia's return to the global community in exchange for ending nuclear blackmail and real security guarantees. 6. Zelensky announced a silence regime starting May 6th to test if Putin wants peace or just a parade. 1. This is a fragile chance that May 2026 will mark the end of the great bloodshed. The situation in Moscow as of May 5, 2026, is the calm before the storm. Vladimir Putin is trapped by his own ideology of celebration. On one hand, May 9th is the foundation of his legitimacy. On the other, US and Ukrainian intelligence confirm there will be no heavy equipment on Red Square. 3. The reason is simple: the risk of Ukrainian drones destroying tanks right in front of the world's cameras. 5. The Kremlin announced a unilateral ceasefire for May 8-9th, essentially begging Ukraine for the safety of its show. 4. Meanwhile, work continues on the Witkoff-Dmitriev plan. This 28-point document could change everything. The main conflicts are currently centered on the borders and Ukraine's military limits. 6. Crucially, the CIA exposed Putin's Valdai drone attack as a total fabrication within 24 hours, infuriating Trump. 6. Putin is stalling, hoping for a breakthrough on the front, while the Russian economy begins to feel the heat from the Gulf War. Logistics and import costs through Iran have skyrocketed. 6. While battles rage on the diplomatic front, an information bomb exploded inside Ukraine. The Midas case. 22. This is more than a corruption scandal. It's a network undermining Western trust at the most critical moment. NABU uncovered a financial pyramid that drained over $112 million from the energy sector. 22. The laundering mechanism was sophisticated. Anguilla Fund. In February 2021, a group linked to former Energy Minister Halushchenko registered a fund to attract investment. 22. Marshall Islands Shells. 2 companies were integrated into a St. Kitts and Nevis trust, with Halushchenko's family as beneficiaries. 22. Crypto Hub. Money from illegal energy activities was moved through the Rocket proxy, converted to crypto, and stashed in Switzerland. 22. The problem is that the Mindich tapes mention houses for Vova and Andriy. 24. Although no surnames were used, Zelensky's rivals are using this to attack the president's office. This puts Zelensky in a corner. He must either purge his inner circle or lose the support of Trump, who is notoriously sensitive to the misuse of funds. 4. May 5, 2026 will go down in history as the end of Arab oil unity. The UAE's exit from OPEC is not a technical maneuver, it's a political earthquake. 35. Abu Dhabi invested for decades to reach 4 million barrels per day, but Saudi-imposed quotas prevented them from selling it. The opportunity cost for the UAE was estimated at $50 to $70 billion annually. But economics is just the facade. The real cause is the conflict between Mohammed bin Zayed, UAE, and Mohammed bin Salman, Saudi Arabia. 12. The Yemen Knot. In late 2025, Saudis launched airstrikes on Emirati allies at the port of Mukalla. It was an open declaration of rivalry. The Israel factor. The UAE doubled down on the Abraham Accords and Israel's recognition of Somaliland, which Riyadh views as destabilizing. The Iran divergence. Saudi Arabia is seeking a diplomatic exit through Pakistan and Turkey. 12. The UAE whose terminals in Fujairah are burning from Iranian drone strikes, demands the total dismantling of Tehran's military potential. 12. The Iranian press taunts the UAE, calling them the exploded Arab Emirates, Emirat-e-Monfajere. But the situation inside Iran is critical. 36. Trump is betting on an internal collapse in Iran, urging the population to arm themselves while the US launches Project Freedom, armed escorts for ships through the strait. 10. Taiwan is witnessing the high-tech evolution of gray zone warfare. China shifted from naval drills to procedural coercion. 16. The idea is simple. If you can't stop a president from flying, you buy the countries on his path so they revoke his overflight rights. 16. That's exactly what happened with the Seychelles and Mauritius. 28. But President Lai Ching-te used bypass diplomacy. His flight on the King of Eswatini's jet exposed the gaps in China's tactics. Arrive, then announce. The visit to Eswatini was kept top secret until he landed. 31. The four-engine advantage. The old Airbus A340, registration B18802, allowed for routes far from emergency landing sites, bypassing ETOPS restrictions. 13. Symbolic gifts. While Beijing called Lai a rat and a stowaway, Lai was gifting the king cows, a high-status symbol in Eswatini, and signing customs mutual assistance deals. 30. This creates a precedent. The procedural neutrality of airspace is dead. Every international trip for Taiwan's leaders will now look like a special forces operation. 16. We are seeing a world that no longer obeys the UN or the WTO. This is a world of 28 points, ghost fleets, and royal jets flying through black holes in international law. 6. The motivation is simple. Those who cling to old institutions will end up like Iran, with empty shelves and dead factories. 10. Those who improvise, like the UAE or Taiwan, survive and dictate terms. 13. Our offer. Don't analyze what diplomats say. Analyze where the planes fly and how money moves through the Marshall Islands. 13. Real politics today is done in hangars and at the Habshan-Fujairah pipeline terminals. 35th May 5th, 2026 is the day the masks came off. Russia faces a choice: accept the 28 points and return to civilization, or hold an empty parade under the threat of fire. 4. Ukraine fights the internal poison of corruption, knowing that trust is the only resource more valuable than shells. 22. The Middle East has entered open competition where it's every man for himself. 35. Taiwan proved that the will for freedom is stronger than any bureaucratic blockade. 13. The next 2 weeks will decide everything. Will we see peace signed, or will Operation Epic Fury begin? Watch the skies over Moscow on May 9th. If they are empty, it means the world has already changed forever. 4.